The Cincinnati Bengals got off to a hot start in free agency, James. They've reportedly agreed to terms with Alex Cappa. Let's dive into it. I'm Jake Lisco. He's James Rapine. We're the Locked On Bengals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, free and available everywhere you get your podcast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, the follow button, depending on your platform. Give us a follow on Twitter at James Rapine, at Jake Lisco, as we will get you updates all week as the Bengals are making moves early. James, if you had Vegas odds on the first move to be announced by Adam Schefter when the legal tampering period opened, it would have been long odds for it to be the Cincinnati Bengals, but they come out swinging, and Alex Cappa will be the Bengals 2022 starting right guard at a reported $10 million per year over 4 years for a total of $40 million.
Yeah, the BetOnline odds were nil. They weren't even, the Bengals weren't even on the list of teams that would agree first. And yet here we go. We had the Bengals come out swinging. They get a right guard. The right guard spot was obviously something that plagued them all 2021. And a couple things here, right? We were hoping, and it felt like they knew that they had to go after these proven commodities in free agency, but you need to see him do it. And let's be honest, they haven't really spent on guard. And when Ryan Jensen went off the board late Sunday night, it was like, well, what are they going to do? And it turns out that Jensen coming back to the Buccaneers, Jenna Lane was all over this for ESPN, opened up the door to Kappa. And I think the Bengals quickly pivoted. And that's why you saw it. 12:01, Adam Schefter's like, boom, Kappa to the Bengals. And I like it. How can you not like them bringing in a proven veteran that, is he going to be a Pro Bowler? Maybe not, but he's going to be a guy that's much better than what you had. And that's music to Bengals fans' ears everywhere.
Yeah, I think there are a few things about this that I really like before we really even get into the player himself and the specifics, because I think it's much better than what they had. What they
Mhm.
had at right guard was a turnstile. Alex Cappa was an above average right guard in the NFL. He's an ascending player. We'll talk about Alex Cappa, the player, and what his profile looks like. But what I really like about this, James, is one, aggression. Making the first move of the free agency period with an external free agent is not something. I mean, has the team ever done that? I don't think so. I
I
would
don't
venture
think
to
so.
say they haven't done it since free agency started in what, 30 some odd years ago. Two, this is unprecedented money, I believe, inflation adjusted, for the
Mhm.
Bengals to pay a guard. This is
Correct.
a position that they have never valued highly from a monetary perspective. Even when they've drafted guards highly, they haven't gone that extra step to retain them. And this is a departure from their previous valuations on the position. They understood what they had to do for their interior offensive line after watching what happened. This is a first step in the right direction. And so the things I love about this the most, James, are a signaling of doing business differently with the immediacy of the move. This is something that was clearly a very high priority for this team, and the changing valuation of the guard position and dedicating resources to it. And this is something that we've been asking them to do. And now, so if you want to be negative about it, you could say they're a year too late, but they've done it. And I think that it's a huge step in the right direction.
It is. Yeah, absolutely it is. And, Thomas Jefferson, it's the old quote, if you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. Well, the Bengals haven't done this. And it's because they were this close to getting something they've, never had. And that's a Super Bowl title, right? A world championship in the guard spot. The offensive line cost them that. And this shows that they're aware of that and that they want to fix that. And it shows Joe Burrow, hey, we want to protect you. And we know we haven't gotten it right. And we're sick of watching you limp and all of those things that have happened over the past 2 seasons. And that doesn't mean they're done. But Alex Cappa certainly is a guy that adds to it, is an upgrade. And we can dive into a little bit of what he brings to the table coming up next. But first, Man, you know it's a perfect day for Built Bars, the number one protein bar on the planet. I snuck in my workout on Monday morning because I knew once noon comes around, all hell could break loose, and it did at 12:01. Built Bar has got me through the day thus far. So make sure you check them out. Built.com, promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off the number one protein bar on the planet. Again, go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off.
Maybe you need a little bit of power to get through that NCAA bracket after daylight savings time with your attention elsewhere on the Bengals in free agency. But college basketball's March Madness is here. And if you'd like to bet on it, go check out BetOnline, betonline.net, the number one source for all your sports betting needs and information. Not just basketball, of course, baseball's coming back. Go check that out as well. Head over to the website today, betonline.net, or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action at BetOnline, where the game starts. And James, let's get into Alex Cappa, the
Mhm,
player. And there's a lot out there about Alex Cappa, the player. Came from Humboldt State, was a
mhm.
third round pick all those years ago. Small school
2018.
guy.
I remember him. I remember talking about him during the
Oh
pre-draft.
yeah. Oh yeah. He was a guy that I feel like we liked. I think he was a Senior Bowl guy, if I recall correctly, that
I think
had
you're
a
right.
good week in Mobile and not a great athlete, at least in terms of the way he tested in 2018. But I'm going to cite our guy Sands here, who wrote for you on allbengals.com, a little bullet list of pros and cons. There's a lot of power to his game.
Mhm.
He's good in pass blocking and short area mirroring is something that our friend Mike wrote. Not a great athlete, inconsistent against stunts. We talked about the athleticism there. Didn't test like a great athlete, so you wonder how he's going to fit from a wide zone perspective. And you hope that he can get the mental stuff sorted out a little bit on stunts because that's been an issue. But these were also issues for for some of the other guys the Bengals had out there. Athleticism aside, I
Brian
think
Jensen.
the
Yeah.
guys the Bengals had at guard last year were okay athletes,
Mhm.
but Kappa should be a scheme versatile player. I think he's not like a 0% athlete. He's an average, slightly below average, maybe athlete, but has been an ascending player. And this fits with what the Bengals have done, right? They've
Mhm.
found these guys going into second contracts, Shadobe Awuzie, although he was kind of a buy low, but Trey Hendrickson, certainly an ascending player. Mike Hilton, another second contract, an ascending player. This one from a small school who has played a lot. He's played over 1,000 snaps the last 2 years in front of Tom Brady. Last year was the 15th highest graded PFF guard for however you want to evaluate PFF grades. Seems clear to me this is a significant upgrade, especially in the pass blocking category where his pass blocking efficiency just infinitely better
Yeah.
than what the Bengals had at the position right last year. Joe Goodberry pointing out 35 pressures on 900 ish pass blocking snaps for Kappa last year, compared to Adeniji 50 pressures on 650 pass blocks, 15 more pressures on 250 less reps. So significant pass blocking upgrade there, and that's what we've been asking for.
Absolutely. Right. It starts there. And it's this is a guy that the past 2 years he started, 16 games in 2020 and got dinged up, tried to play through a broken leg, according to multiple Buccaneers reporters, played through a broken arm, like which is insane to me as an offensive lineman. Started all 17 games last year and is a tough guy that can help set the tone for the future of this Bengals offensive line. I think that's the other part of this is they need some personality. They need some guys who are willing to go to Skyline and sit down with, instead of chili, a plate of glass like Frank Pollock talked about. And this guy at least has the toughness to do that, right? Based on what we've heard. So no, I like it. I think it's a clear upgrade. Is he worth 10 million per versus 9? It doesn't really matter because protecting Joe Burrow is priceless. And that's what I was hoping to see from the Bengals in free agency. And this is the first step toward that. Now it can't be the last step. They need to add more, but I love that you're right. He fits the profile. He does appear to be an ascending player. Hopefully he gets better and they have him for his prime years, 4 years. They'll have him for his age 27 through age 30 seasons. That's what you want. And so hopefully this is good money. And this is the first step of many this offseason towards keeping Joe Burrow upright, because I've been dreaming really since Super Bowl 56, when that, ended in a nightmare, of the idea of Burrow just having the time Matt Stafford had to throw at the end of that game. Bringing in a guy like Alex Cappa could certainly help him do just that.
A step in the right direction, the first of hopefully several glass eaters imported to Cincinnati for Frank Pollock and Joe Burrow's offensive line. You hope it's the first step of many here, James. I think it is probably the first step of many. I think that saying anything is done is certainly premature, but checks a lot of boxes, James. I think this is a good move, a good step. While we're here, quick note, Bengals also tendered Fred Johnson, but we'll talk about the rest of the first day in free agency on the full episode of the Locked On Bengals podcast, dropping a little bit later on Monday. Until then, Bengals fans, hoo day and have a good one.